Hello and welcome. We're starting here in just a minute or two. I'm going to give people a chance to join. I'm glad you're here. If you are, good chance you tried to join last week and missed this because I wasn't here. I had a hardware problem. My CPU cooler, the fan froze up, and I had to scramble to get a replacement, and I just didn't get it in time to do the live stream. So we're going to pick up this week where I intended to go last week, which is building a Go web server. And I'm going to be doing it through the boot.dev course on the topic. So this will be a sort of two-pronged thing. I'm going to be learning about boot.dev. I've never used their platform before. So I'll be learning that as we go along and commenting on it and sort of reviewing it, I guess, and building a web server at the same time. So hopefully that will be interesting for everybody. This is the course I'm going to be doing, Learn Web Servers. Like I said, I've never used boot.dev before, so we'll see what goes on, see how it goes. I was warned to try it before recording because sometimes there's some browser compatibility issues. I didn't do that because part of my goal today is to review it live as they go along too. So we'll see. If I run into any problems, we'll solve them live. Now, before I get started, I want to mention next week, I'm doing this again, but next week I'm going to do a different topic than I've done before. I'm going to be reviewing some code live. I already have one person who submitted a request for me to review some of his code. If you would like for me to review some of your code live, let me know. Send me an email or send me a comment. Give me a link to a GitHub repo or whatever, and I'll go through some code review live next week. We have 2 hours, so I can probably get through 3 or 4 projects, depending on how much detail we go into. So I'd love to get some responses from you. If I don't get enough submissions to do that, I'll probably review some open source code. Maybe we'll look at Kubernetes or something. I don't know. We'll pick some random open source project and just go through that and see what sense we can make of it next week. So if you're interested in that, you can find my contact details at boldlygo.tech. There's a contact me link there. You can email me. You can also find my social media links on LinkedIn and so on, Mastodon. Send me a comment somehow and let me know if you're interested in having to review your code. Got a bunch of greetings on there. Hi, everybody. Jamal, Akash. I don't know if I'm going to say this one right. Daihik? I don't know. That J letter is pronounced in so many different ways in different languages, so I don't know how that's pronounced. And Mihai. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining today. So let's get started with building a web server in Go. I've built web servers before, so I don't expect to be amazed by anything absolutely new here, but we'll see. All right. Well, let me zoom in a little bit. If you're watching on your phone, it would be hard to see this text. Learn all about the basics of building web servers from scratch in the Go programming language. We'll keep the stack lean and simple using primarily the standard library. Once you've completed this course, you'll feel confident building your own web servers, and the concepts you learn will be applicable to any language or framework. 24 hours of material. We're not going to cover that much today. 67 challenges and quizzes. I get a certificate of completion. Yes. Let's get started. A big shout out, by the way, to boot.dev for giving me access to this. I didn't pay for the subscription. I talked to Lane, who runs boot.dev, and told him I was thinking about doing a live stream, and said, yeah, that's a great idea. So he just gave me access to do it for this particular course. Well, let's get started here. So far so good. The web browser seems to be working. I haven't run into any glitches yet. What is a web server? I'm probably going to breeze through some of this because I think some of this is pretty rudimentary. This course is designed for people who are not familiar with backend development at all. So if that's you, then this might be a good course for you to take. Well, they have many courses. I think you pay a monthly subscription fee and you have access to all their courses. But I don't know exactly my audience today. Maybe some of you are absolutely new. But I'm gonna breeze through it because I want to get to the live coding part. What is a web server? It's a computer that serves data over a network, typically the internet. Yes. So we have all these clients that talk to a server, multiple requests. Any server worth its salt can handle many requests at the same time. Yep. Okay. Building Chirpy. In this course, we'll be working on a product called Chirpy. Chirpy is a social network similar to Twitter. Okay. Assignment. One of Chirpy's servers is processing requests unbelievably slowly. Figure out what's going on and fix the bug. The server should be able to process all the requests within 1 second. Time limit. This is interesting. So I get to fix a bug first, huh? All right, let's run. Like I said, I've never done this before. I don't know how this works. Compiling my code. 1 second past killing the server. So it died before it apparently served enough requests. Well, we have a sleep in here. Oh, that's the part that causes it to wait. So handle request has a sleep also. Handle request for path 0, path 1. We'll probably just need to delete this time.sleep. Then I expect it will work. So are all the courses free? That's a great question. No, they're not. Let me open this up in a new tab. I do believe they have some free sample courses. Actually, let me open it up in a new incognito tab so we can see what exactly it looks like there. So you get a demo course for free. And then I think you have to pay beyond that. I'm not exactly sure. Let me look at their pricing. Pricing. Here we go. 34 euros per month or 49 USD per month. Or you can do an annual membership for quite a bit less. Or you can pay per course. If you want to just buy individual courses, you can do that as well. But I think the most popular is the annual one. Or if you want to just try it out to start with, you can do the monthly one. And yeah, we'll see what the system looks like today, right? That's part of what I'm learning here. So it's still, my thing still failed in some way. So it's trying to do, it says don't touch below this code. No, so I wasn't supposed to do that. Alright, so I'm only supposed to change something up here. Oh, I think I get what's going on here. It wants me to do this in GoRoutines. So probably like this. Yeah, that's all I had to do. I earned 289 XP. Awesome. Whatever that means. So this platform is like gamifies everything. So I completed one assignment. I have 1 week of study in a row, and what's this? One assignment correct in a row. All right. So I guess I submit. Did I already do that? I think I did. I guess I did. So I hit this to go to the next one. All right. Go routines and servers. As I mentioned in the last exercise, in Go routines are used to serve responses to multiple requests at the same time. Do all servers work this way? No. Go is built by Google. If you're watching this channel, you probably have a sense about Go already, that it was designed to be fast and highly concurrent, etc. So I'm going to skip this content about Node.js and Python. Which would you probably choose if you had a lot of CPU-intensive image processing back-end tasks to run? I don't even know. I mean, I would choose Go, but honestly, it shouldn't matter that much. Any compiled language would be my choice from a purely a performance standpoint. Just because it'd be faster. As far I don't care about the concurrency model so much because I can probably run my image processing in parallel. But I'm going to choose Go here. I'm sure that's the answer they want. I got more XP. Yes, to do skippity do. No, more quizzing here. Which is best for back-end development? They all have the pros and cons, except JavaScript has no pros. No pros. Not really, but I'm sure. Well, I clicked the wrong one. Now I lost my streak. Ah. Oh. Feels like Go is too much verbose. I hear that a lot. I disagree, but I know why people feel that way. I probably felt that way when I started with Go. Um, Go puts a high premium on code readability rather than like being quick to write. It's all about being quick and easy to read, which means it sometimes requires expressing things more. Error handling is a common example. You have to do your error handling. It's fairly repetitive, but that has the advantage that it's much easier to read because you never have to guess if error handling is happening somewhere else, like in a try-catch statement or something like that. Which is best for backend. I already did that one. Okay. Paste the base URL, send request to. Okay, read something here. Starting now, this course is going to be very different than what you're used to at boot.dev. Okay. We're building a fully fledged web server from scratch on your local machine. You'll notice that the code to the right is not editable. Okay, so I have to do this on my local machine. This is interesting. Like it looks like this runs the tests against my local machine. How does that work? Like, it sounds like a security issue. Let's see what happens. An editor, I'll use VS Code, but you can use whatever you're comfortable with. I'll use VS Code as well. Command line, go toolchain. All right, I'll be using 1.21. Set up your project. Create a new GitHub or GitLab repository for your Chirpy project. Okay, let's do GitLab. I like GitLab. New project. Create a blank project. Yes. So let's call it Chirpy. Group. Flimsy group. Let's make it public. That way, I'll put a link to it in the comments of the video, so everybody can go to it later if they want to. All right, let's clone this thing down. All right, I have an empty repository as expected. Oops, into that playlist. You can find the right window now. Oh, you can tab of this one, of course. All right, I did that. Do not delete your work after each assignment. Okay. Go Center Library makes it easy to build a simple server. Your task is to build and run a server that binds to localhost 8080 and always responds with 404 not found. Okay. Create a new serve mux. Wrap that mux in a custom middleware function that adds CORS response to the response. CORS headers to the response. See the tip below on how to do that. We'll get there when we get there. Create a new HTTP server. All right, I'm going to skip the CORS part to start with because I know the rest of it pretty much by heart. And then we'll go back and add that. Put this up in our editor. Go. Main. Func main. Now, one thing this isn't talking about is tests. It hasn't told me to write any tests. I don't know if I should be doing that. Like, I should be doing that. I don't know if I'm going to be doing that. It's just the assignment doesn't ask for it. Well, let's just get started. And if I get to the point where I feel like I need some tests, I'll go to do that. Normally, I would write my tests first. You know what? I am going to do that because I know what I needed to do. I needed to return not found. So that's easy. I'm going to do that. Create a file for my tests. Let me put that back over here because the screen is kind of small as it is. Now I want to test that I always get a not found. All right, so let's do esc equals. Now, it's really nice that the standard library gives us a lot of really cool tools to test HTTP servers. think that's the right thing. Yep. Why is this like this? So I need to pass this a test server, is it? This called new server. And then it needs to take a handler. I'm not going to get a handler yet, but I will be. All right, the test is going to fail, but let me get it started. Go modern it, yes, thank you for running. That's what I mean. Reload. Oh, of course. That's called main and the other file. Okay. All right, then I want to do quarter is HTTP quarter. That's not what I want. I want to do a request. Right? So I'm making a request to an actual server. This HTTP test new server starts an actual web server in test mode that I can run against. So I need to get any path is fine for now. No body. Error does not equal nil. Then p.fatal error. And then we're going to do p.default client do rest. Never use a default client, by the way. I'm using it right now. I won't be for long. All right. Now I have a test. It's going to fail. It is failing. Because S is not used, of course. Because it shouldn't be. I need to put s.url here. I also need to put p.cleanup. So s.shutdown. Let's close maybe. Okay, the tests are passing now. So, and I haven't even called my code yet. So let me create a handler over here that will fail. Now I can pass this handler into my test. And now it's failing. Yeah. So now I'm getting a 200 even though I wanted a 400. Okay. Let me catch up on these chat messages. I say they've had some discussion going on here. Like to provide a perspective on repository pattern in Go. I'm not sure exactly what you're asking. I mean, I like the repository pattern in Go. Are you asking how to do it, or if it's a good idea? I'm not really sure. For the conversation about Go being more verbose than Python or Node. Interfaces and their implementations get a bit confusing. Yeah, interfaces are one of the harder concepts in Go to master, to learn. I started using Go And it probably took me several months before I really felt like I kind of got the basics of interfaces. And then probably longer before I started, understanding all the possible use cases and the ways they work. So that definitely can be a challenge, no question. Especially if you're trying to, if you come from a traditionally object-oriented approach to programming, then it can take a while to learn the go way of doing things because you can't do inheritance and stuff like that. So it can take a while. If you have specific questions about that, let me know. I'll try to address some of those. Maybe not in this, maybe not today, but at some point. Yeah, someone asked why the test from package should be not main because I made a mistake. They should have been in main. The discussion about adding generic types to Go. I wish they hadn't. Some people like it. I don't like them, but I've used generics in a couple of minor cases, like for just really trivial things where if I didn't have it, I wouldn't care. I think that they made the language much more complicated for a very small game. I wish they hadn't done it. Anyway, moving on. Just wanted to catch up to the thread there. All right, so I have a server that's not returning 404, so let me make it do that. The way to do that is w.write header http status not found. So my handler should be working now, but I still don't have a server that runs because, yeah. So let's actually type that apparently. This is going to fail. So fetch. It doesn't really give much detail because it failed. It should have failed with like connection refused because I haven't actually set up the server yet. So let me do that. That's one part that is not easy to put in a proper unit test. So the test I wrote tests this. It doesn't test what I'm about to write. Okay, what is it? This is a font. This is a value. I'm going to do this. Oh, it's handler font. All right, there we go. And then we need to call. Let's just do server dot. Put the address here also. To local host 8080. Never use panic. This is throwaway code, so that's why I'm doing it here. Do proper logging. If this is a real service, you should do proper logging. It's still failing. Oh, because it's not running. I need to actually run the service as well, don't I? Now let's try. No, it's still failed. Seems to be working here. Maybe it's failing because I didn't do the cores thing yet. So I guess I'll work on that next. Go to the server. This has to do go build rather than go run dot. Better practice. wish it gave me a little bit more diagnostic information about what was failing. If your browser is blocking HTTP from localhost, you need to temporarily disable security settings in your browser. You can verify this problem by opening the browser's dev kit. Alright, let's do that. See if that's going on. It might be the core thing. I don't see that particular error. I'm not talking to the microphone, sorry. I don't see a particular error message, so I think it might be the core thing. Let's see if we can figure that bit out. So I have the listen and serve happening. I have a server. I need to create this cores deal. Alright, let's make cores middleware. Call it cores mux. I think there's something there. I don't like calling it mux. Oh, here it's called. Oh, they just gave us some code here. Okay, copy and paste it. Awesome. But read it to understand it. Okay, let's do that. The middleware takes an HTTP handler as an argument and returns another HTTP handler as an argument. This should be completely familiar to you if you've done middleware in Go before. If you haven't, then I guess let me know in a comment and I can go into more detail. But it just sets these three headers. Allow origin to anything, allow methods to get, post, options, put, and delete, and allow headers to anything. And if it's options, then we just return OK, set as OK and nothing else. Otherwise, we call the next handler that was passed to us and we serve whatever it does. All right, so let's add that to our server. Let's try this thing again and see if that solves it. Nope, still not good. Maybe these are the browser issues that I was told might happen, huh? I told her to use it like this. I'm not using the serve mux yet, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm sure that's not the problem. Oh, I forgot to restart the service. There we go. All right. Is there anything I've missed here? Open that in the browser. Okay, let's just verify that. It should be fine. I did it in Perl. Page cannot be found. Expected. Okay. Don't forget to use go mod init. Thanks to whoever in the chat reminded me of that. Don't forget that each time you change your code, you have to rebuild. Yep, I've missed that already. Use git to save your work. Good idea. Add a git ignore to not add my compiled binary. All right, what's next? You might have a browser that blocks the JavaScript. No, we got that figured out. Chrome is working, so we're good to go. I haven't used ServeMux yet, but maybe I'm sure I will, but not yet. So what's next? File server. The file server is a kind of simple web server that serves static files from the host machine. File servers are often used to serve static assets for a website, things like HTML, CSS, blah, blah, blah. Ghost Server Library makes it super easy to build a simple file server. Build and run a file server that serves a file called index.html from its root. All right, so let's create that. Make a directory called content, I guess. And within that, I'll create this file. All right. Yep, did that. All right, now I need to use a surfmux because I need to use some of its capabilities. So let's do that. Not equals. I'm not going to do that yet, actually. I want to do a test first. And then my request is going to be slightly modified. I'm going to copy actually most of this, but I'm going to modify bits of it. Because I want this to be SURL, I want to do file path.join, and then index.html. Because s.url is the root path, the HTTP colon blah blah blah, port number, / and that's it. Now I want to add index.html to the end of that, and I want this to be that is okay. And then I also want to check that the response I get has this string welcome to Chirpy in it. Let's do body equals read all. And you know what I should have done up here? I need to do it in the new test as well, but I need to close body.close. Need to do that for both of these tests. Hi, Lane. Good to see you on here. Now, my tests are going to be failing for 2 reasons. Oh, no, it's only for 1 reason. Nope, a reason I wasn't expecting. Just no hosting request yet. Oh, I know why that is. Because filepath.join removes slashes. So that's not what I want. I'll do this the lazy way. Just going to do string concatenation. All right, that's the failure I was expecting. I'm getting a 400, not a 200, and the body doesn't contain the expected text. And the reason for that is because I haven't written the functionality yet. So I have a failing test. Let's add the functionality. So we need to use file server. We want to handle some stuff. I suppose we're just going to handle a single file right now. So I'm going to actually reorder my code a little bit. I'm going to do I'm going to create a root handler. I'm going to create a function that returns a root handler. I'm going to wrap this in there. The reason is because in my tests I want to be able to, I don't want to have to duplicate all this wrapping and everything. So now here I can just do root, and do the same thing as the first test. Now it'll have the cores headers, which don't matter for my tests at the moment, but it might in the future. Okay, so that was just a simple refactor. Now I can introduce that mux here. And I'll do cores mux as the original assignment suggested. Cores mux. And then I want to, now this current handler, I don't think I need this anymore. Well, you know, actually, there is a nice place I can use it, I think. I don't remember how. I don't use the standard library router very often. I don't remember if it has a not found handler in it. Get in here. Serve mux. No, it doesn't have anything like that. So a lot of routers will have a like a not found handler or error handler or whatever. So it kind of falls back to that if nothing else finds it. This one doesn't have that. So I don't think I'm going to need this handler I created any longer, but I'm not ready to delete it just yet. Instead, I'm going to do this, mux.handle. I'm going to have it use the handle func. I can tell it that anything to /root goes to handler. Right. Yeah, okay. And then turn close mux. Right. I think our test should be the same as before. Yeah. And I can restart. Should be working as before. That's the wrong page. Not that. Okay, perfect. All right, now I'm going to add that file handler bit, which will replace this handle func or this handler that does nothing except send that not found. File server. Doesn't mess up. Oh, it's just a string. Okay. I think it can work. Why is it complaining? Oh, because a handle func is just a handle. All right, now I can delete this. Tester's still failing. Interesting. Oh, I need to do some. I know why that is. I need to strip prefix. I think. So I made this a little bit more complicated than the assignment assumed. The assignment basically asked me to put the index.html in the root directory, and I decided to be a little more organized and put it in the content directory. But now the server's looking in the root directory, not finding it. Or that's not quite right. It's looking for. I think it's trying to match this content string to the URL, which isn't there. So I'm going to do what the assignment called for in the first place, and move that into the top level, and then I can use dot here. It's still failing. I might have just guessed wrong about what's happening. I'm not sure. In our case, dot. Yeah, okay. Ready in use. How did that happen? Did I hit Control Z instead of Control C? I did. Alright, so this is serving the file. Why is the test not working? Oh, I know why. It's because this first test is now failing. If the first test was expecting not found and I deleted that functionality. So I'll delete that first test. Now the tests are working. Okay. I think I finished that bit of the assignment. I'm going to make sure the server's running before I retest. It is. Start over to certain run test. Yay! Confetti and everything. All right. Five assignments completed. File server quiz. Okay. Let's go over some of the code that we used for our simple file server and make sure we understand the nuts and bolts. Consider the code and answer the questions. All right. HTTP server address, port number. Well, port string, technically. We hope it's a number represented in that string. Handler mux. Log printf serving files from blah, 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 blah. All right. What is http.server? Is it a struct that describes a server configuration? An interface that describes a server configuration? A go routine? A function? It is a struct. Ta-da! What happens when listen and serve is called? The main function exits and the server is shut down. A python slithers over and eats Lane's pet gopher. Well, that might be true. That would be incidental to the actual code itself. The main function exits and gives control back to the Go runtime. The main function blocks until the server is shut down. Anybody want to guess? I know what this does. I'm sure some people do, but anybody want to guess? And in fact, for any of these questions, as you see them come up, shout out your answers in the chat. There is a little bit of a lag here, so I'm not going to wait for long. So just as soon as you see the question come up, shout out your answer, and we'll go from there. But the answer for this one is the blocks, this last one. I wonder if the amount of XP I get depends on how long it takes me to answer. Oh, that's the last one for now. Okay. Serving images. All right. You may be wondering how the file server knew to serve the index.html file to the root of the server. It's such common convention on the web to use a file called index.html to serve the web page, blah, 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 blah. When using a standard file server, the path to the disk, the path to a file on the disk is the same URL path. An exception to that is index.html server. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't really need to try this to know that that's true, but same. Okay. All right, let's try again. Down the Chirpy logo. All right, I'm gonna right click and save image as. Save it to /tmp. That's, I'm gonna rename that to Chirpy. That's a better name than that. Well, it's apparently supposed to be called logo.png. And I'm a good netizen, so I like to use Zopfli to compress my PNGs. We're calling it logo.png. Let's see if it's already been compressed. Oh my gosh, Lane, you're wasting 11 kilobytes every time I download an image. All right, configure this path so it's accessible from the URL. All right, let's do that. Git add logo, and then let's. Do I want to write a test for this? I could, but I'm not really testing my own code. I'm testing the existing file server code. So, I mean, I would be testing that I set up the routing correctly, and that might be worthwhile. No, I'm not sure. You know what? I don't think I need to do this at all. to be honest. I think it'll work already. No, it would work better if I was running the server. Ta-da! All right, let's run the tests. Uh-oh, something's not right. Expected status code of 200 got 400. Oh, I need to paste. No. Oh, it's supposed to be under assets. Okay. Yeah, that's working. Now it should run. No. Content length. Oh. It's specifically looking for the exact image with the right content length. So my Zopfli thing broke the test. Recompressing the image broke it. All right. Your test is a little bit too specific, Lane. Now it works. I can't even save 11 kilobytes of bandwidth and get away with it. My goodness. All right, workflow tips. Another quiz here. Shout out your answer to the quiz while I'm reading through the workflow tips here. Servers are interesting because they're always running. Maybe yours are. A lot of code we've written in boot.dev up to this point has acted more like command line tools. Okay. I haven't been following the other lessons, so I'll trust that this is true. They've been writing CLI tools and so on. Servers are different; they run forever. Okay. Debugging a server debugging a CLI app is simple. Oh, I know who to send my CLI apps to next time they need to be debugged. Then see if it did what you expected. Yeah, blah blah blah. Restarting a server. Yeah, we did that a couple times, right? Or forgot to a couple times as well. Yeah, add operator. All right. Let's look at this quiz here. Which do you not need to do each time you make changes to your code? Save the code file. That's important. Build the code. Possibly run the program. You need to do all of these things. I think you need to do all of those things. Yeah. Pardon me. What does the and do in the command? Go build o out and dot slash out. It executes go build dash o out dot. No, wait. It executes go build o out dot slash out. Two different shell sections. If the go build out succeeds with exit to 0, it runs the out dot slash out command. It does make the command feel nice. I really need a multiple choice here, but this is the correct answer. All right, here we go. Custom handlers. In the previous exercise, we used HTTP file server function, which simply returns a built-in HTTP handler. An HTTP handler is just an interface. There we go. That's what the interface looks like. Any type with a serve HTTP method that matches that signature above is an HTTP handler. Take a second to think about it. It makes a lot of sense. This is me taking a second to think about it. Yeah, makes a lot of sense. To handle an incoming HTTP request, all a function needs is a way to write responses and the request itself. All right, here's our assignment. Let's add a readiness endpoint to the Chirpy server. That sounds like a good idea. Readiness endpoints are commonly used by external systems to check if the server is ready to receive traffic. The endpoint should be accessible at the /health_z path using any HTTP method. The endpoint should return 200 OK status code indicating that it has started up successfully and is listening for traffic. The endpoint should return a content type, text plain, charset, UTF-8 header, and the body will contain a message that simply says OK. Okie dokie. I'm going to put this in a new file. because right now it's going to be a simple little thing, but in a real application, this could potentially become a few dozen lines of code, and it makes sense to keep it segregated just for ease of maintenance. Package main, func self z handler. And so let's do return. Let's do that handler func. You might be wondering why I have a function that returns a handler rather than that handler itself is wrapping a function. Why don't I just use the function itself? I could in this case, but this pattern is a common pattern you'll see in a lot of Go applications, and the nice thing about it is it allows me to make it effectively makes this a closure, which doesn't matter right now, but it could if I were to pass in some arguments such as a database handler. To if I wanted the health check to see if the database is up, then maybe I pass in a database handler here, right? And it does something with that. So it's a pattern I like to follow. I don't always follow it, but I generally follow it, and then it gives me that future expandability. That's why I'm doing it that way. But for now, we're just returning the same response all the time, which honestly means we don't care about the request. We can ignore that. What we want to do: w.header.add content type. I'm just going to copy that string we were told about. Oh, we need to put the, yeah, that's fine. And then we need to put the body. This is the quickest way to write the body is with, right, I suppose. Is there a write string method on here? I'm not sure. Let me save this. No, there's not. I think this is the way. No, I don't know. Let's complain here. Yeah, we don't check the return value. My linter is complaining about that. Do that just to shut up the linter. Now, it doesn't specify whether there should be a carriage return after the OK. Hopefully that doesn't matter. I'm not doing a carriage return, so it's just OK and then nothing instead of a blank line. Don't think it matters. I imagine any software that reads this trims white space before checking stuff. Anyway, if it even reads the body at all, it might just look at the status code in most cases. All right, so there's our health Z. Now we need to make it do something. Or we need to make it be called somewhere. And I forgot to set up a test for this. I should have. Let's go ahead and do that now. It's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm basically copying this test. Does anybody know why it's called health Z? Why is there a Z or a Z, depending on the part of the world you're from? Anybody know why? Body investigation. Okay. Tests are passing. Nice. So, since I did my test after my code, I'm going to undo this to make sure the tests fail. If you don't see your test fail, then you don't know if it's a valid test, right? So now I've seen it fail. And now my test is passing again. Let's restart the server. Thanks, Mihai. Apparently, it historically comes from Google's internal practices. They're called Z pages. Did you Google that? Is that why it's in quotes? Or did you chat GPT it, perhaps? I didn't know the answer, so I learned something today. Uh-oh. Out of 400. What did I forget to do? I'm going to test it here. Stack Overflow. So that's working there. But what's the status? Am I sending the wrong status? setting status okay. Okay. Where's that? Update the file server. Oh, I didn't update the file server path, I guess. Now that we've added a new handler, we don't want potential conflicts with the file server handler. Update the file server to use /app path instead of /. Alright, I didn't do that part. That's going to break our test. So actually, I'm going to change my test first. This will be app /. Now the test is going to fail. And it does. And then here I change this to... Oh, I'm going to leave that the same. I'm going to change this to app. And the tests are still failing. Why? Test index should be working. But only you need to change HTTP. Yeah, okay, I forgot. I need to strip the prefix. That makes sense. Or I could move index.html into a subdirectory called app, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to follow the instructions. I think that's how that works. It's not working. I wonder if the slash is problematic. Yeah. This one always throws me off, by the way. Every time I buy some armor. I don't get the reference. Anytime I use this strip prefix thing or the file server and the standard box, I always have the same exact problem. And I'm always struggling to remember the correct order and usage of these things. I'm completely at a loss. What's wrong here right now? After? Nope. Strip prefix. Let me read the docs again. Strip prefix returns a handler that serves HTTP request by removing the given prefix from the request URL's path, invoking the handler. Strip prefix handles a request for a path that doesn't begin with a prefix. Not found. Okay. Do I need /app/? Is that the exact? Nope. Is there a clue here that I'm missing? Use this. There we go. All those pesky slashes. Okay. Let's start the server again and see if the test likes me now. Oh, it does. Nice. Let's make a git commit. See all the things we've changed. Got assets, add health Z. Mucho changes. All right, let's go to the next step. How long is time? We're about an hour in. All right. Handler review. Oh, we got quizzes. Throw out your answers. An HTTP.handler is any type that implements. Yeah, we read that part, right? So this is just a review of it, I guess. Handler func. So handler func, yeah, lets you wrap a function with the right signature and turns it into the interface. It's kind of handy. There's a nice pattern I've used in other places too. While the signature, the request argument is fairly obvious. It contains all the information about the incoming request, such as the method. If you're coming from a language like PHP or something, where you get a lot of this stuff from sort of magical global variables, this can be a little confusing. But I think it's a better approach to have all that context related to the request in a single object or struct. The response writer is less intuitive in his opinion, the author's opinion, and I agree. The response is as an argument, not a return type. Instead of returning a value all at once from the handler function, we write the response to the response writer. Yep, it is less intuitive. Which underlying type might implement the handler interface? A struct, a string, an integer. Any of these. And many, many more. From which parameter would you get information about the HTTP method used by the client? The answer is the request. Stateful handlers. Oh boy, we're doing cookies now? Something similar. It's frequently useful to have a way to store and access state in our handlers. For example, we might want to keep track of the number of requests we've received. And we may want to pass around an open connection to a database or credentials to an API. Oh, I don't think this is request state yet. This is something else. The product managers at Chirpy want to know how many requests are being made to serve our homepage. In essence, they want to know how many people are viewing the site. They have asked for a simple HTTP endpoint they can hit to get the number of requests that have been processed. It will return the count with plain text in the response body. Okay. I think product owners have some priority problems. I think they need a working product before they care about how many people are using the product. But hey, I'm not here to argue with product owners. Create a struct that will hold any stateful in-memory data we'll need to keep track of. In our case, we just need to keep track of the number of requests we received. All right. You could also set up Prometheus. I won't complicate things too much. Let's save that for tomorrow. Let's do a new file for this. I'm going to call it metrics. Store that type there. I'm not sure why it's called config. I feel like that's the wrong noun, but I'm doing as I'm told. Don't tell my wife. She might start expecting the same thing. Next, we write new middleware method on API config that increments the file server hits counter every time it's called. Nice. So here's a function signature we need. All right, so we need to return http.handler func. And then we're going to wrap that. That's going to wrap, rather, a function with the appropriate type. Writer request. And we're going to do... I wonder if what I'm about to do was intended in the... I think I'm about to break this tab. No, I won't break it, but... So, well, I'm going to do what I think is expected, then I'm going to explain why it's not ideal. No, I don't use alternative, I just call it. I think this is what's expected. But we have a problem here that we have a race condition. This could, if we have a busy server, and of course we will, because Chirpy is going to, it's going to probably take over the internet. We're going to be having billions of hits per second, and this counter is going to be implemented simultaneously in multiple go routines. So we need some safety here. I don't see any mention of that here. So I'm going to do it my own way, and I'm going to assume that we're not taking over the internet too quickly. So an N32 is going to be enough, and I'm going to use the atomic package. So by using the atomic package, we do an atomic update on this int32, and I chose int32. I could have done int, I think, in Go 120 or later, but it might be 121 where they added that. But int32 has been there forever, So that's why I did that. Another option would be to use a mutex. I could do this. And then I could do cfg.view.lock. And then after the add, so that would also work, but it's slower. If I can figure it in the right file. So this is slower than the atomic operation. So that's why I chose the atomic approach. It's also less code. All right, Lane, I'll submit a report to the lesson. All right, now we need to use this thing. So here where we did this cores mux, we can do the same thing. Let's do metrics mux. Actually, first let's do metric. Create an instance of that thingamajig. What was it called? API config. And then metrics mux. Metrics dot metric. I can't even spell. What's wrong with me? Metrics mux. Metrics dot. Oh, nope, that's the wrong one. Cores mux. And now I need to pass this. I need to return this one. Cores mux. So they all get wrapped. So here's our first mux, and then cores wraps that, and then metrics mux wraps that. Now we have this little middleware chain going on. A little bit cumbersome way to handle it, but it works. All right, what's next? Once again, I should have written a test, but I didn't. No, and that's a little bit of an interesting thing to test anyway. Maybe I should write a test because that could really be an interesting demonstration. I will. I'm going to do this test is going to be completely different than the other ones, though. I'm going to test that particular metric, file server hits. So I'm not actually going to do the HTTP test new server in this case. I'm not going to start a full server because all I really want to test is this middleware works. So I'm just going to call it middleware. So let's do metrics equals, equals. What was it called? I don't like that name. API config, isn't it? It's not intuitive to me. All right, so there's our metrics, and then middleware is, actually first I need a dummy handler. Doesn't need to do anything at all, except not crash. So there, an empty handler does nothing, but it won't crash. Then I can call, then I need to create a response recorder, which is a type used for testing that satisfies the HTTP response writer interface. Now I need to create a test request. I don't need it to have any particular information in it because I don't care for this test. So just give it dummy data. And now I'm going to call metric dot middleware on handler serve HTTP rest and now I need to clean up. So my clean up, I think I need to call response. I don't need the response, but I need to. So actually, this should be called rec, not rest. Rec recorder. And then normally, if I'm checking the response, but I got the response I expected, I would do something with this. I don't care in this case, though. I just need to close the body so it doesn't eat any resources. So that's really all I care about here. Now, for my assertion, I want to validate that if metrics dot not equal to 1, no, the test passed. So I need to make my test fail. So I'm going to comment out this line. Now I expect it to fail. Yep, I got 0, and I want 1. So I'll go back again. All right, so I'm glad I wrote that test, because you can see a very different test pattern here. Here we're just testing a middleware, not even a regular handler, just a middleware, to see that it does the right thing, and it does. So now, back to this, I need to make this, now I need to create a new handler that serves that, that information, right? So I'll do that in the metrics file. Func, config, I'm told to use a specific name. Was that supposed to be just the file server? It is just a file server. So I shouldn't be wrapping the whole thing with this. I should be wrapping just let me return cores mux. And this should wrap just the file server here. Whoops, it's not happy. Oh. This is starting to get unwieldy. But that should be correct now. So now calls to health z won't increment the counter, but calls to file server will. And then we want to serve these somehow. Let's call it serve. I'm going to use the same pattern as before, even though it's a method now, and so I could have my arguments, or whatever closure things I want to close over inside of there. I'm still going to use the same pattern just for consistency. Does it tell us what content type and stuff to use? Plain text, okay. Simple enough. I'm going to copy this header over here. And then w.write header. Okay, and then the body. I'm going to use printf here, because it's a little bit simpler for this. I'm going to put a new line in this one, just because I like it. Notice I'm using the atomic package again, and that's to load this. You might think maybe I don't need that here because I'm just returning the value, right? Well, if I were to be returning this value at the same time someone else was writing the value, there could still be a data race. So that's why it's important to use the atomic package even here. All right, now I need to make this serve from somewhere. What path is it supposed to be? Under metrics, okay. I think that does it. I could go to the effort of writing another test to test that endpoint, but I'm not going to since we've already written 2 or 3 like that today. In the interest of time, I'm going to just test it here. It's going to fail because I forgot to rerun the server. I'm going to cheat and do this. No, that's not working good. Oh, I forgot to create a reset. Okay. So it legitimately fails. So I really should be writing tests for all this, but if I could spell. No, I don't care about the request here. I don't care about it here. I don't think. In principle, this reset, so in principle, metrics should only work for get, and reset should only work for probably post. But that's not part of the assignment, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. We'll just let any request type do the thing. No, it doesn't specify what the reset returns. So I get to choose, and I'm going to choose that it returns fits equals 0. But what I want it to do is return the value as red. So I'm going to do hits equals atomic dot swap int 32 TFG dot also hits 0. Actually, no, that's not quite what I had in mind. What swap does is it takes whatever value is there now and returns it, and then puts this in its place. So this would return the old value. That's not what I want. I want it to return 0 to sort of indicate that sort of indicate that it's done 0 or that it's been reset. So I reset it, and then I return the same output format as here, but it's going to always be 0. So I can simplify this a little bit. Make this a print 1. I'm going to need to register that endpoint. Let's see if I got it right this time. Let's restart the server. Hey, I got it. Quiz. Shout out your answers. Middleware is a way to inject code into HTTP handlers. I could see the answer being yes, but it's an awkward wording of that. So let's see what the other options are. Middleware is a way to keep secret environment variables safe. Not really. I mean, maybe there's some way you could relate to that, but that's not in general what it's for. Middleware is a way to speed up your application. No, although it can do that too in some cases. Middleware is a security feature of the Go language. No. I think the answer is the first one, although it's an awkward wording. It's more like it wraps code around your handlers, but I think this is what it's getting at. Let me read what I just skipped over, though. Keeping track of the number of items. Yeah, we did that. We've already seen the cores middleware to add the headers. We haven't done this yet, but it'll look like this. Yeah, middleware for logging is a very common pattern as well. So I'm pretty sure this is the answer we're looking for. What does Core's middleware do? Locks down an application behind a firewall? No. Ensures the browser blocks requests on the client side? No. Make sure that our server is cryptographic? No. Tells clients which headers and methods our server allows and ensures the browser doesn't block it. That's the one. All right. Still got 40 minutes to go. Oh, good. We're going to use Chi. I like Chi. Go Standard Library has a lot of powerful HTTP features, but it doesn't have the most powerful routing built in. That's where Chi comes in. So just a quick note, Go 1.21, as of Go 1.21, the standard router does have a lot more power built in. Not as much as Chi, but it is much more powerful. So there's less of a reason to use a third-party router now than there was before 1.21. Basically, they added the ability to specify which verbs you use. So let me demonstrate that here. This should work. I am running Go 1.21. So basically, we could do this. And now other types of requests. If I put a get to reset, it would be not found. What I don't know, I don't know if you can specify multiples. Like for this one, I probably want. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Like the comma separated ones, probably in. Let's find out. Where does it explain patterns? It's apparently not in this document. I'm not sure where it's handled, but as far as explained it, it's not here. Yeah, I don't know. I would have expected it to be in Zodoc by now, but I'm not finding it. I didn't dream this, did I? Maybe it's not in Zone 21 yet? Maybe it's 122 it's saying that? I thought it was already here. Anyway, it's not directly related to the topic today. Yeah, it's on all the way through. Anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand. All right. Chi router, try it. So we're going to do some chi stuff here. This lesson chi is going to make it. Run this command, send an empty post request to your server. Okay, so I think I can fix this already actually by putting get here. Let's find out. This will prove it, whether or not it's a 121 or not. It is. All right, so we can actually solve that particular problem in Go without in the center library without using chi. But I still like chi, so we're going to do it anyway. So first step, we need to go get it. That updates the go.mod. Oh, I forgot to commit my previous changes. Oh, I'll do that in a second. Then we're going to create a new router. All right, so instead of this mux thing, we're going to do R. Thanks for dropping by, boot.dev. See you next time. Alrighty, swap out serve mux for the new one. Yep, that's what we're working on here. So I'm going to delete this mux deal. All right, now chi, one nice thing about chi is it makes chaining these middlewares simpler. I think we can do r.use. I'm not sure. Let's find out. Yeah, it's just r.use. That's awesome. Okay, r.use middleware cores. And then what do we want? This is get. I think we do it just like this. Get z. So you can see that the chi uses the same handler function signature and interface that the center library does. It just has a slightly different way of calling it. But all these functions I created previously, they still work with chi, which is really nice. You'll also notice that I don't have to invoke the middleware's cores here like I did before. I just pass that function into use, and it does the invocation of it for me. Tests are failing. What's going on wrong here? Uh-oh. Get my tag. I think that's your tag. Something's wrong here. Oh, this wants specifically a handler func. That's interesting. It doesn't want a handler, it wants a handler func. So I'm going to comment that one out for just a moment while I figure this out. That's annoying to me. I mean, in some ways it makes sense because it's a little bit less abstraction. Anyway, I guess I'll just make this return handler func. And then I don't know. That's so annoying to me because a handler func is a handler. If you ask me, you should just accept a handler because then it could accept either format, but whatever. All I'm doing is changing the return type. It shouldn't be done. I didn't realize that Chi did that. Now I'm annoyed at Chi. I like Chi, but I don't like that aspect of it. Alright, what's failing now? This is for index. Expect 200.404. I'm not sure what's happening here. What method was I using? Was I using get? No, I'm using get. I would expect that to work, but it's not. This has me doing script prefix. Use that slash. Is that what I need? Nope. You'll need dot handle. You'll need to dot handle the file server handler twice. Once for app slash star path and once for app slash. Oh, okay. That's what's messing me up then. So I'm going to do fs handler just like you showed me here. And then here, fs handler. Duplicate this. There's once for app slash star. I don't know if the star is literal here. Let's see. Oh, that took care of it. All right. Very good. Are we ready to run the test, I think? Something's broken. Well, that's weird. Oh, that's the test I just fixed. Slash used to go away here. Okay, that did it. I don't know why. Without Chi, we would need to write some custom handlers to parse HTTP methods out of requests. Yeah, this is no longer true, as we just proved. It was true for a very long time. It was just in February when Go 1.21 came out that this became untrue. But I still like Qi. It's lightweight and easy to use, not bloated with features that I don't need. It just routes HTTP. I suspect they're referring to like full-fledged like web frameworks like Echo or Revel or Jin, which I also don't like so much. I prefer the lightweight approach of Qi, for example. And it's idiomatic. It follows the same HTTP pattern. So we saw that that it uses the same, mostly the same function signatures. It's a little bit annoying that it uses HTTP handler func instead of HTTP handler, but it's a minor thing. And then you have these various methods you can call on it. All right. The router.get method limits the requests that can be routed to the handler to the get HTTP method. Or 2, limits the requests that can be routed to a handler. The post, obviously not that one. It limits the request that can be outrouted to the handler to the post HTTP method in a specific pattern. No. Limits the request that can be routed to a handler to the get HTTP method and a specific path pattern. So I think this is the correct answer. Although I think there's a possibility that it's not completely the correct answer. Let's see here. Looking for documentation, types, router. Let's see. It doesn't specify here. What I'm wondering about those head, I'm assuming. Okay. So there's a middleware that does what I was thinking. I was wondering if head method would also be handled by get, but only if it uses middleware. So I would say that this is actually fully correct. All right. What is this? All on level 7. There's another level. What's this? Gem store. Wow. What's this cool stuff in here? Qi is a full web framework. No, it is not. A web framework that can convert? No. A lightweight library that makes routing easier. A library, yes, it makes routing easier. That's all. Right. Methods and decoupling. Architecture is off. Architecture in software can mean many different things, but in this lesson we're talking about the high-level architecture of a web application from a structural standpoint. More specifically, we are concerned with the separation or lack thereof between the back-end and front-end. When we talk about coupling in this context, we're talking about coupling between the data and the presentation logic of that data. Loosely speaking, when I say a tightly coupled front-end and back-end, what I mean is front-end, the presentation logic. If it's a web app, then this is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript that is served to the browser, which will then be used to render any dynamic data. If it's a mobile app, then this is the compiled code that is downloaded on the mobile device. Back-end raw data. For an app like YouTube, this would be videos and comments. For an app like Twitter, this might be tweets and user data. You can't embed the YouTube videos directly into YouTube app because a user's feed changes every time they open the app. The app downloads new raw data from Google's backend each time the app is opened. All right. So we're saying a monolithic application has a single backend that serves different types of things to the front end. It serves HTML, CSS, and so on. And it serves the data. You can also decouple those and have two different servers, one that serves just static data and one that serves the raw data. Fair enough. For now, Chirpy is technically a monolith. That said, we're keeping all of the API logic decoupled in the sense that it will be served from its own namespace or namespace or path prefix. We serve the website from the app path prefix. We'll be serving the API from API for the /API path. Okay. So we want to move help Z and metrics to /API. All right, let's do it. So the first thing I'm going to do is update my test here, not that one, this one, to look for API. Oh, you know what? Actually, first I'm going to commit the code I've made, changes I've made already. I forgot to do that before. Must changes. All right. So API here. And I don't think I wrote a test for the metrics endpoint, so I won't bother with that yet. But this one should now be failing. Yep, because I'm getting a 4 out of 4 because that path doesn't exist yet. Now over here in my root thingy-majigger, I want to create a group. That's one nice thing that Qi lets you do. Most routers, third-party routers let you do that too. So I'm going to create a API group. I still want the core middleware. Let's do API, group. I think that's all it is. Nope, something's wrong here. I think it's a function. Okay. It's kind of cool. Maybe something wrong there. Okay. I don't think it's what I want. I thought that I would give it a it's been a while apparently since I've used Qi. Inline router along the current routing path. This is fresh middleware stack for the inline router. So it returns a router. I was expecting to pass a path name to it. Oh, maybe route is what I want. Yeah, route is what I want. These things here. Let me just move all this down to the bottom. Put the API stuff at the end for no particular reason. And rename this. Oh, I can't put it. Oh, I need to define this metrics thing at the top. That's all right. Let's put a little comment here. API endpoints. All right. Tests are still failing. Oh, failing very differently though. Attempting to route on a nil. Okay, so that the nil argument didn't work. I don't know what I'm supposed to be passing there. I want to see some examples. This isn't really what I just want to know how to create a group. It's mentioned here. It uses mount, okay. Okay, that's this. Create a new router, okay. That's what I was missing. So this would be API Qi.new router. And then r.mount Yeah, I think that'll do it now. Tester faster. Okay. Something else is broken. API reset is not working. I wonder if I need to put a slash here. Don't know. Nope. Didn't solve it. Got 405. Oh. It wants to it shouldn't be doing that. It wants to use get to do a reset. That violates so many things. But that does it. Okay, so there's another, I think, bug I would report for this lesson. Shouldn't be doing a get to make write changes to the service, but whatever. All right, which is better? There's always a trade-off. Pros for monolith, pros for decoupled architectures. Yeah, this is an ongoing debate, isn't it? Monolith versus services. Which will probably be cheaper to host as traffic and scope increases. It depends a lot on your traffic patterns. Okay, what does it say here? Something to get started with, easier to deploy. In the case of data being embedded in HTML, better UX and SEO, easier to scale. So I think the answer he wants here is decoupled. So easier to scale can be true. I don't know if that necessarily translates to cheaper, because you can scale. If you have more requests to your backend or the backend is slower or something or whatever part of your application needs to scale first, you can scale just that. So I suppose that, at least in principle, would be cheaper. So I think that's what he's going for here. Which would be faster to start a new project with. Monolithic is definitely easier and faster. All right, admin namespace. I'm trying to decide if I want to keep going. It's not about 20 minutes left. I'm not sure who's still here. Do you want to spend 20 more minutes going on over this, or are there questions that I can answer about this or potentially anything? I had a question early on about the repository pattern. I could talk about that if you're still here and still have that question. Let me know. Let's go ahead and do one more section here before I end today. One of the advantages of a monolithic architecture is that it's fairly simple to inject data directly into the HTML of a web page. Assignment. Let's swap the metrics endpoint, which just returns plain text, for an admin metrics, not under API endpoint that returns HTML. Okay. Use r.mount method to mount a new router for the metrics endpoint on the admin namespace. What would be your ideal file structure? Are you talking about for a Go, like a Go module? Or are you talking about like a file server, as in the example today? So I've created a new router called admin that calls metrics.admin, which doesn't exist yet, but it will in just a moment. Okay, so we have this template we need to use. I'm just going to use a constant for now. I think that should work. Let's see how that goes with the test. I did it. All right. Well, I'm not sure what kind of file structure you're asking about, but let's assume you're talking about the structure of a Go module. The Go team recently released suggestions on that topic. Let me find the link here. This is the show notes of the Cup of Go podcast last week, I think. Organizing a Go module. So here's the recommendation from the Go team. I'll share this link in the chat for anybody who wants to follow along. I don't know if you can see that. Let me, it doesn't let me link chat to LinkedIn for some reason. That's the URL right there. go.dev/doc/modules/layout. But what it talks about is how to lay out a Go module. And it talks about a couple different use cases. You know, maybe you have a really simple project, or maybe you have several different submodules, or maybe you have a CLI tool or 12. So it gives several different ways to do that. So I would look at that if that is indeed what you're asking about, how to lay out your Go module. So that would be my advice on that one. Any other questions I can answer for anybody? All right. Well, I think it's been an interesting time going through here. Well, maybe we'll finish this quiz here before I end the live stream for the day. We won't go in-depth deployment instructions right now. That said, let's talk about how our choice of project architecture affects our deployment options. Using a cloud service to deploy applications is super common these days because it's easy, fast, and cheap. But you could also do a local or on-premise server. That said, it's still possible to deploy a local or on-premise server, and some companies still do that, but it's not as common as it used to be. Deploying a monolithic Deploying a monolith is straightforward because your server is just one program. You just need to get it running on a server that's exposed to the internet and point your DNS records to it. Alternatively, you can use a platform that's designed for that, like Heroku, etc. Decoupled deployment. With a decoupled architecture, you have two different programs that need to be deployed. You would typically deploy your backend to the same kinds of places you would deploy a monolith. Don't worry about this stuff. Multiple programs must be deployed in a classic virtual server like EC2 or GCE can be used to host both. Which is better fit for Netlify, static front-end asset? I'm pretty sure this one. I'm not a big Netlify guru, but I think that's fine. Which is a browser not good at testing? I would argue it's not really good at testing either one, but I don't think it even can test post requests. Or it can use JavaScript, but it doesn't natively. All right, let's call that a day. Only got 10 minutes left. I don't think that's enough to dive into JSON. Let me know what you thought. If this was valuable, I could potentially continue doing stuff like this in a future live stream. Otherwise, I want to just thank Lane for joining the chat and for offering to let me use his platform to do today's live stream. It's a pretty slick platform, I think. Actually, I'm going to spend a minute looking around here. So I got a bunch of badges and stuff here. Quest available. You can accept a new quest. What's a quest? I got a sharpshooter gold. What does that mean? Get 21 assignments correct in a row. Okay. I get to claim 2,000 XP. Whoa, that took me up 2 levels. I feel so accomplished. What else? Apprentice, 6 seconds ago. Unlocked by reaching level 10. I get to claim 3 gems. Okay, I don't know what that means. What's that? Sharpshooter silver. Didn't even claim. I have a lot of experience I haven't claimed apparently. Milestone silver. Complete 15 exercises. Okay, that's 3,000 XP. I'm up to level 12. Do I get bigger weapons when I go up to bigger levels? How does this work? 500 XP. I feel like I've been missing out all along. 5 exercises. Ooh, I haven't looked at it yet. Quest available. Alright, I don't know what quest stuff. Quest board. Complete 3 assignments within 24 hours. Oh, so I get to accept a quest, and then if I do that thing, I get a bonus of some sort. 9 assignments within 24 hours. Didn't I just do like 12 assignments? I should have accepted this early on. I would have gotten an extra 2,000 XP. Earn 15,000 XP. Alright, let's see what gems are for. Buy a temporary XP boost or armor to protect your sharpshooter product. Oh! When Lane said something about buy some armor you savage, he was talking about this. What does armor do? Earn gems by completing quests. Learn more. Armor protects your sharpshooter streak from being lost. If you get an assignment incorrect and you have armor purchased, you will instead lose a piece of armor instead of losing your sharpshooter streak. Once armor has been on an assignment, the assignment will always be protected as indicated by the shield. Oh. Alright. Well, it sounds like I need to buy some armor. Alright, I have some armor, apparently. Oh, here it is. Protected by armor. Alright. Well, check out boot.dev. It looks like it's a fun little gamified platform. What do I have here? 0 courses completed. But I'm on level 13. Problem solved 27. Leader. I'm like ranked 4,709. Can you beat me? It wouldn't be hard. Anyway, this is fun. Boot.dev looks kind of cool. So check it out. If you're not already, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you're watching me on LinkedIn, check out the YouTube channel. where I do this every week. I'll be back next week reviewing some code live. And in the meantime, I have some videos I'll be uploading. So I hope to see you all around, and thanks for joining me today. Until next time.